Galactic University, an awe-inspiring floating complex suspended in the heart of a neutral zone. The university is a colossal structure that stretches across multiple levels, its halls a fusion of architectural wonders from countless species. Transparent walkways hover over floating gardens, and massive lecture halls pulse with holographic displays, alien artifacts, and cutting-edge research. This is the galaxy's academic heart, where knowledge transcends species and the cosmos itself is explored. Beings of all shapes and sizes, some towering, others barely visible to the naked eye, move through the corridors, exchanging ideas and collaborating in their quest to unlock the secrets of the universe. This melting pot of minds houses the greatest thinkers, scientists, and scholars from across the stars. The air buzzes with the energy of discovery, but beneath the surface, a quiet tension hums, a reminder that even in a place dedicated to knowledge, there are forces at play that could shift the balance of power in the galaxy. In a grand lecture hall, Professor Zilvor stands before a class of eager students. His shimmering, translucent skin catches the light, reflecting the colors of the room like an ethereal being. The Ziltrian scholar is an ancient intellect, his mind spanning millennia of knowledge. His voice, calm and authoritative, carries across the hall as he speaks. Professor Zilvor is a revered figure, both feared and admired. He speaks of galactic ecosystems with the wisdom of ages, his words a carefully measured dance of knowledge and power. But there's something unsettling in his tone as he speaks about the death worlds. Planets so dangerous that their mere existence seems to mock the very concept of survival. There's a hidden agenda in his research, one that he keeps veiled behind the facade of academic curiosity. His obsession with these worlds, especially the one known as Earth, could change the course of the galaxy forever. Professor Zilvor coolly understanding these death worlds. My students, is not simply about survival. It is about the delicate balance of life and death. Some worlds are so unforgiving that only the strongest and most adaptive survive. And there is one in particular, a world considered apex. Its inhabitants may have mastered their environment, but their story is far from over. We shall explore it, whether you are ready or not. The camera shifts to the classroom, where 3 students sit at their desks, each with their own unique traits. The trio of individuals embody the diversity of the galaxy in all its forms, different species, different backgrounds, different perspective. Rishak, the cautious reptilian from a low-gravity swamp world, shifts nervously in his seat. His species thrives on fragile ecosystems, and the idea of venturing into death worlds fills him with unease. He scans the room, his sharp eyes darting from side to side, the weight of the assignment weighing heavily on his mind. Rishak, some worlds are not meant to be explored. Across the room, Shaltar, an imposing avian with sleek feathers, listens intently, his posture confident, almost arrogantly so. His world is one of peace and technological perfection, where conflict is a distant concept. To him, the idea of a death world is an anomaly, an idea that no advanced civilization should be concerned with. The arrogance in his eyes betrays a belief that no challenge is insurmountable. Shaltar, death worlds, are mere relics of a chaotic past. Technology can tame any environment, I'll prove it. Finally, Korina, a delicate amphibian from a tranquil oceanic planet, observes the others with quiet intensity. She thrives in the serene waters of her home world, a place untouched by violence. The idea of dangerous worlds disturbs her deeply, but her desire to understand the galaxy's darker side pushes her to step out of her comfort zone. Korina, I just want to learn, even if it's frightening. These 3 students, though vastly different in nature, must now collaborate to understand the mysteries of the most lethal planets known to the galaxy. They are about to be thrust into a world where survival is not guaranteed, and trust will be tested. Each of them holds a unique perspective, but will it be enough to unravel the secrets of the death worlds? The class gathers around a massive holographic projection of the galaxy. Zilvor activates the display, and the stars flicker as a dozen planets light up, each marked with a red warning symbol. These are the death worlds, planets so dangerous that life in most forms can barely survive. The assignment is clear: research and present on the death worlds, planets where the very environment fights against the existence of life itself. These worlds are home to creatures capable of surviving the harshest conditions, whether it's boiling oceans, freezing tundras, or lethal radiation. The trio must delve into the ecosystems of these planets and uncover why they are not just hostile, but thrive. Each of the students feels the weight of the task. Their worlds, so different in their peace, are about to be tested against the savage realities of the universe, and their findings could forever change their understanding of survival, life, and the unyielding forces that govern the galaxy. Silvor gestures toward one planet, its name flashing on the holographic display. Earth. The students lean in, confused. They had assumed that the most dangerous worlds were remote and alien, but this is different. Earth, their very own planet, a world they had dismissed as a mere curiosity, is ranked as a Category 5 Apex Death World, a classification so extreme that it's reserved for only the deadliest environments. Professor Zilvor Earth, a world of brutal extreme, volatile weather patterns, devastating predators, and the constant struggle for survival. Its inhabitants, humanity, are no different from the creatures of this planet. They are born of conflict, of struggle. They have mastered their environment, not through technology, but through, and that makes them dangerous. The room falls silent. Shaltar's smirk falters, Rishak looks troubled, and Korina stares wide-eyed at the image. Earth is not a peaceful utopia. It is the apex of survival, a world that challenges everything they know about life in the galaxy. The students are left to grapple with the implications of this revelation. The mystery of Earth, a place they thought they understood, has just begun. The lecture hall is filled with murmurs of disbelief. Rishak, Shaltar, and Korina sit together, their minds still processing the bombshell dropped by Professor Zilvor. The revelation that Earth is a Category 5 Apex Death World feels surreal to them. Rishak shifts uncomfortably in his seat, his reptilian eyes darting around him. His species, born of swampy, low-gravity worlds, had never encountered a place so brutal. Earth, this primitive, violent planet, seems almost laughable. Beside him, Shaltar is already shaking his head, a smirk playing across his face. Shaltar, it's just a primitive world, nothing more than a chaotic, uncontrollable mess. How could it possibly be so dangerous? Rishak, ever cautious, isn't so sure. He fidgets, his tail twitching nervously beneath the desk. Earth may be brutal, but his experience with fragile ecosystems tells him that the truth could be far darker than they realize. Rishak, maybe we're missing something, a world where everything fights back, that could be dangerous in ways we don't understand. Korina, always the quiet observer, looks troubled, her smooth amphibian skin slightly paler than usual. Her world had been tranquil, serene even. How could such a place as Earth truly exist in the galaxy? Korina, I don't understand. How could a world be so deadly? Why would anyone choose to live there? Their debate swirls in the air, each argument a reflection of their own worlds and experiences. They can't quite believe that Earth, the place they thought they knew, could be so dangerous. The idea feels alien, even laughable. Yet deep down, a growing unease begins to settle in their minds. Perhaps, just perhaps, they've underestimated what they're about to face. Professor Zilvor stands before the class, his posture unwavering as he activates the holographic display. The image flickers to life, showing Earth's violent history, massive storms, colossal wildfires, and ice-capped wastelands, stretching as far as the eye can see. As the images flash across the room, the students are forced to reckon with the truth about Earth. Silvor's voice cuts through the silence, each word weighted with the gravity of centuries of history. The planet's past is one of catastrophe and rebirth, a cycle of destruction that reshapes life with every new catastrophe. Professor Zilvor Earth's history is not one of peaceful coexistence. It has known conflict in every form, biological warfare, environmental catastrophes, and endless cycles of destruction. Mass extinctions have shaped the evolution of life on Earth. Those that could not adapt did not survive. The students are stunned into silence as they watch the destruction of entire species, the rise of new life amidst chaos. This is no ordinary planet. It is a crucible where only the strongest endure, a place where survival is a constant brutal battle, a lesson in the raw, uncaring power of nature. Professor Zilvor, every new generation on Earth fights to survive. The planet's ecosystem is hostile, and the creatures that dwell there, humanity among them, have adapted in ways that defy imagination. What you see here is not the past. It is the ongoing struggle of a species that will do anything to survive. For a brief moment, the classroom is silent. The students, now facing the terrifying reality of Earth, begin to see the world not as a harmless anomaly, but as a proving ground for life itself. A place where humanity's survival instincts were sharpened to a deadly edge. Chaltar stands, his wings spread slightly as he looks down at the holographic display with contempt. He's dismissive, his arrogance shining through in every word. Chaltar, primitive, that's all this world is, a place where life is at war with itself, where chaos reigns. No civilization should ever be considered dangerous simply because it hasn't mastered its environment. My species has tamed the very stars themselves. Chaltar's dismissiveness stings. To him, Earth's chaotic struggle is a sign of weakness, not strength. His worldview is shaped by the utopia from which he comes. A society that believes technology and peace can solve all problems. He cannot fathom a world where survival is not guaranteed by the might of intelligence and technology. Rishak, however, clenches his claws, the reptilian scales on his skin twitching with frustration. Rishak, survival is not just about technology, it's about adaptability. Earth may be chaotic, but it is a place where life fights for every breath. The debate grows tense, and for a moment, the students are on the edge of open conflict. They have been raised on such different principles that they cannot comprehend each other's perspective. Chaltar's arrogance sets the stage for the cultural clash to come, while Rishak's growing sense of doubt leads him to question the assumptions of his peaceful world. For the first time, they begin to realize that survival on Earth is not something that can be taken lightly. Zilvor's voice suddenly breaks through the tension. He has made a decision, Professor Zilvor, to settle this once and for all. I have requested permission to take you on a field trip. You will experience Earth firsthand. Only then will you understand what you're dealing with. You will see the dangers, and you will have no choice but to confront them. A murmur spreads through the classroom. Shock ripples across the students' faces. Earth, a place of savage unpredictability. Their worlds are far removed from such a hostile environment. But Zilvor's decisions, they will face the unrelenting dangers of Earth, and they will be forced to adapt or die. Kurina, are we ready for this? I don't know if I can survive a place like that. The thought of venturing into Earth's deadly environment is overwhelming. Yet, the students have no choice but to face this challenge. The expedition is approved and they will be guided by someone who knows the planet's dangers firsthand. Captain Elias Ward, a human veteran who has survived the worst Earth has to offer. The door to the classroom opens, and Captain Elias Ward steps inside. His face is weathered, hardened by years of surviving Earth's brutal environment. His presence is commanding, and the students instinctively straighten in their seat. Captain Ward, you all think you know danger, but you have no idea. Earth isn't just hostile, it's ruthless. You may have the brains, but do you have the will to survive? Ward's words hang in the air like a challenge. He's not here to coddle them. He's here to prepare them for the fight of their lives. His eyes lock with each student, assessing them, calculating whether they have what it takes to make it. There is no doubt in his mind. Earth will test them in ways they never imagined. The air is thick with moisture, a suffocating wall of heat that seems to crawl under the skin, pressing in from all sides. The group steps off the landing craft into the dense, unyielding Amazon jungle, their boots sinking into the wet earth with each step. The humidity wraps around them like a heavy cloak, stifling and overwhelming. The alien students, Rishak, Chaltar, and Kurina, are visibly uncomfortable, their breathing shallow as they adjust to this hostile world. They exchange uneasy glances, their previous confidence in their peaceful, temperate homeworlds dissolving under the weight of Earth's primal energy. Rishak swats at an insect buzzing around his face. His skin prickles with irritation, sweat already trickling down his brow. The air is alive with the sound of creatures lurking unseen, but the students know this is no ordinary environment. This is survival at its most brutal. Captain Elias Ward steps forward, his weathered face set in a grim expression, his voice cutting through the oppressive heat. "Welcome to Earth," he says, his tone both matter-of-fact and foreboding.
Forget everything you thought you knew about danger. You're about to meet the real The jungle's energy seems to pulse with life, threatening, unyielding and dangerous at every turn. They will soon learn that every step they take will be a fight for survival. The jungle reacts swiftly. Rishak, whose species is more accustomed to temperate, controlled climates, nearly steps on a brightly colored poison dart frog. His foot hovers just above the ground as he freezes, his body instinctively recoiling. The frog's vivid color is a warning, but the alien's heart races as he steps back in shock. A simple misstep could have meant death. Watch where you step, Ward warns coldly. Not everything out here is as harmless as it seems. Jaltar, dismissing the danger, strides confidently forward, a look of arrogance in his eyes. He's used to his physical prowess, a species accustomed to dominance in their homeworld. But then it happens. The ground beneath him shifts, and fire ants surge from the earth like a living carpet. The biting swarm is relentless, covering his legs in seconds. His confident sneer turns to shock as the intense burning sensation overcomes him, his body swelling rapidly from the allergic reaction. Rishak tries to help, but the ants are everywhere, and their time is running out. Kurina, distracted by the chaos, barely hears the faint rustle in the undergrowth. A jaguar, silently creeping closer, its eyes gleam in the shadows, the predator sizing them up. The jungle's silence is deafening as the tension builds. Move, Ward commands sharply, snapping the students out of their panic. We're not safe here. In a frantic scramble, they flee, just missing the silent predator's charge. The jungle's dangers aren't waiting. They're already here.
Later, from a hidden vantage point, the students watch as a crocodile launches a surprise attack on a group of unsuspecting animals. Its movements are swift and calculated, the predator's body a terrifying testament to Earth's evolutionary ruthlessness. The prey never stood a chance. That's Earth, Ward murmurs, his voice filled with grim admiration. The strongest survive. It's always been that way. That's what made humans the apex predators. The students stand in stunned silence as they witness Earth's wildlife in action. They had believed their species' technological advancements meant they were at the top of the evolutionary ladder. But the savagery of the jungle reveals just how wrong they were. The cycle of life, death, and survival plays out before their eyes. Brutal, raw, and unforgiving. Rishak, shaken by the encounter, looks at Ward with new respect. You're saying humans survived against creatures like that? Ward's eyes narrow. Humans didn't just survive. They learned, adapted, fought back. His voice carries a heavy weight, as if this lesson is one he himself had to learn the hard way. The weight of the moment hits the students all at once. Their arrogance crumbles in the face of Earth's brutal reality. Rishak, Jaltar, and Korina, once so confident in their species' superiority, now stand with their eyes wide in disbelief. Earth's creatures, once dismissed as primitive, have just demonstrated their superior survival instinct. The predator's cold efficiency in the wild is something no one had expected. How is this possible? Korina asks, her voice barely a whisper. The students share glances, each one slowly realizing the humbling truth. They've underestimated Earth. Jaltar, his feathers now drooping, struggles to form words. We thought we knew what survival meant, but this is something else entirely. Rishak's voice is steady, but there's a new hardness to it. We have much to learn, and it's going to be harder than we ever imagined. Later that evening, as the group rests in a makeshift camp, Elias Ward sits by a fire, his eyes distant as he recalls humanity's brutal history. The students, still stunned by the day's events, listen intently. We were not always at the top, Ward begins, his voice low. Humans were prey once, like many creatures here, but we adapted. We fought back. He pauses, the firelight flickering across his face. We learned to use tools, to build shelters, to fight against the very beasts that hunted us. He looks directly at Rishak, Jaltar, and Korina, his gaze unwavering. That's why humans are still here. We're survivors, not because we're stronger, but because we adapt. We fight until the very end. The students exchange quiet glances, and for the first time, they see humanity not as a primitive species, but as something far more dangerous. Humans aren't just survivors. They're warriors, and they've only just begun to understand Earth's true power. The night is heavy with the weight of this realization. And as the fire burns low, the jungle continues to hum with life. The students now know survival here will demand everything they have, and more. The Amazon jungle, already oppressive with heat and humidity, grows heavier. The sky, once clear, now churns with dark, brooding clouds, gathering with unsettling speed. The temperature plummets, the air thick with the promise of rain. As the first drops hit, they explode with force, turning the earth beneath their feet into a slippery, dangerous mire. Within moments, the downpour intensifies, transforming the jungle into a maelstrom of water and wind. The wind howls like a beast, the trees groaning under the pressure. The alien students flinch, their eyes wide as the storm rages around. Rishak, usually composed, looks up in disbelief at the ferocity of the storm. His species had seen harsh weather, but nothing like this. Nothing that could turn the land into an angry, living entity. Jaltar, normally confident in his own strength, glances nervously around, his posture stiff as he pulls his cloak tighter around himself. Korina, struggling to even keep her footing, stumbles in the rain. Elias Ward stands still, unaffected by the torrential rain, his gaze scanning the surroundings. "This is Earth," he says, his voice cutting through the chaos. "Get used to it." His voice is steady, but there's an edge of urgency. "We need shelter now." The alien students look at each other, but the reality of survival hits them. They had expected controlled environments, not raw, uncontrollable chaos. Elias leads the way, cutting through the deluge, the storm's fury a reminder that Earth's power cannot be tamed or ignored. The storm continues its relentless assault as the group huddles together, soaked to the bone. Rishak, ever the strategist, darts through the trees, his movements quick and nimble. He's accustomed to harsh environments, but even he feels the weight of this challenge. He gathers materials, branches, leaves, and vines, but the task is slower than he anticipated. He throws a frustrated glance at Jaltar, who stands idly, glaring at the work. "We are scholars, not laborers," Jaltar snaps, clearly uncomfortable with the hands-on task. "This is beneath me. I should be studying, not playing in the mud." Elias, his patience thin, steps forward, his face hardening with authority. "You're here to learn," he says, his voice firm. "Survival doesn't care what you think you are. We adapt or we die." Jaltar opens his mouth to argue, but Elias cuts him off. "Get to work, now." Reluctantly, Jaltar begins collecting materials. Though his actions are half-hearted at best, the storm rages on, each second proving just how dangerous this environment is. The tension among the group builds, but Elias presses on, forcing everyone to focus on survival. Not strength, not intellect, but ingenuity. As the storm howls around them, Elias doesn't let up. He pushes them, not allowing any excuses. This is how humans survive. Through sheer willpower, through problem solving, through learning from failure. He demonstrates how to lash branches together, using vines to create a rudimentary structure. The students watch, hesitant at first, unsure of their ability to succeed. Rishak, frustrated by the slow pace, offers suggestions, but each time, Elias pushes back. It's not about speed, it's about doing it right. Humans didn't survive by rushing. The rain pours harder, the wind screaming through the trees, but the group slowly begins to assemble the shelter. Jaltar grumbles, but he works grudgingly. Korina, standing apart, watches with a quiet intensity. Her eyes flicker back and forth between the others, studying their techniques. Elias catches her gaze. "You have to learn to adapt, watch, think, act." And then it clicks. Korina moves forward, her hesitation slipping away. She picks up a branch and begins to weave it through the vines, thinking outside the box. Rishak notices and nods approvingly. "That's it," Elias says, a rare smile tugging at his lips. Humans didn't survive by being the strongest. They survived by being resourceful. Korina's breakthrough comes in the most unexpected way. She doesn't have the strength or the size of Rishak, nor the arrogance of Jaltar, but she has something else: creativity. Her eyes dart back and forth,
scanning the materials around her. And slowly, she begins to assemble the shelter in a way that no one else thought possible. Her hands, shaking at first, find their rhythm as she laces branches together, using the rain-soaked ground to her advantage. Rishak, who had been focused solely on speed, looks at her work with disbelief. How did you? Korina looks up, her voice quieter than usual, but filled with newfound confidence. I watched. I thought about what we needed, not what we had. Elias observes silently, a proud glint in his eyes. That's the human way. Find the solution, even if the odds are against you. Jaltar, who had refused to participate, watches with growing respect. Maybe there's something to this, he mutters under his breath. As the shelter takes form, the storm rages on outside, but the group inside is starting to understand. Earth's most dangerous challenge isn't just the wildness of the environment. It's the mental fortitude needed to survive. The storm finally begins to subside, and the group steps back to look at what they've accomplished. A rudimentary shelter, but a shelter nonetheless. The alien students, exhausted but filled with a sense of accomplishment, stand in. The wild storm outside no longer feels as menacing as it did at the start. They've conquered it. They've adapted. Rishak looks up at Elias, the realization dawning on him. Humans, you survive because of Earth's dangers, not despite them. Elias nods, his voice steady and filled with purpose. That's right. Earth's threats are what made us strong. Every storm, every predator, every disaster, they didn't break us, they forged us. The students, once so dismissive of humanity's place in the galaxy, now look at each other with newfound respect. The storm may have tested them, but it also revealed a truth they had never understood. As the rain fades, the jungle seems quieter now, the distant sounds of life resuming. The group, weary but resolute, understands that this world and humanity has more to teach them than they ever imagined. Earth's challenges are what gave rise to its greatest strength, its will to survive, adapt, and thrive. The starship hums quietly as it descends toward Galactic University, its metallic surface reflecting the distant star. Below, the once impressive towers of the university loom, pristine and immaculate, yet now they feel almost foreign to the group of students returning from their harrowing journey. The sleek, clean hallways are a far cry from the brutal, chaotic Amazon jungle that tested their every instinct. As the group walks through the university's entrance, the quiet hum of advanced technology seems oppressive, a stark contrast to the raw, untamed power they had just survived. Each student feels the weight of their experience. Rishak, the ever-competent scholar, walks with a furrowed brow, his mind still replaying the storm's fury and the ingenuity required to survive. Jaltar, usually so full of pride, now holds himself with less certainty, his gaze lost in thought. Korina, once timid and unsure, walks with newfound strength, her head held high. Elias Ward, the human guide and mentor, remains calm, though his mind is filled with thoughts of the journey and what lies ahead. As they prepare to present their findings, a tense silence settles over them. The shift from the brutal realities of Earth to the sterile academic world of Galactic University feels overwhelming. What once seemed like a place of knowledge now feels cold and distant, almost alien to the group who have just faced death itself and come out strong. The presentation hall is packed with students and professors from every corner of the galaxy. Advanced beings of all shapes and sizes sit in their seats, their eyes fixed on the group of students who had ventured to Earth. Elias stands at the front, his presence calm but commanding. Ladies and gentlemen, he begins, his voice carrying through the room. What you think you know about Earth is wrong. It's not the planet's dangers that make it a death world. It's the humans. The crowd murmurs, confused, intrigued. Rishak takes a step forward, his voice steady but tinged with awe. Earth is a world of extremes, violent storms, dangerous wildlife, and an unpredictable climate. But humanity doesn't fear it. They adapt. They survive. Jaltar, his voice now quieter than before, recounts their journey. We witnessed humanity's resilience firsthand, facing storms that could tear entire civilizations apart. Yet they thrived. They don't just survive the chaos. They shape it, bend it to their will. Corina, her voice filled with quiet certainty, adds, Earth's true nature isn't in its dangers, it's in the humans who have learned to master them. We couldn't understand it at first, but now we see the human spirit is their greatest weapon. The room falls into stunned silence as the group lays out the full scope of their experiences. The storms, the predators, the extreme conditions that humans have learned to not only endure but to thrive in. The audience listens, captivated, horrified, and awed by the depth of human survival. Earth, once dismissed as a primitive, uninhabitable world, is now a place of incredible power, all because of its dominant species. The room is still, but it's alive with energy, a palpable mix of awe and disbelief. Alien species exchange hushed whispers, their minds racing to process the revelations. Some of them, accustomed to controlled environments and technological marvels, find it nearly impossible to fathom how any species could thrive in such a hostile world. Others, more pragmatic, are deeply impressed by the ingenuity and resilience humanity has displayed. A tall insectoid species shifts uncomfortably in their seat. How did they survive such conditions? The answer is simple, but terrifying. They didn't survive because they were stronger. They survived because they learned to adapt, to solve problems, and to never give up. Another voice rises, more mechanical, yet with a hint of respect. This changes everything. Earth is no longer just a death world. It's a proving ground, a forge for survival. I didn't realize humanity is capable of more than just living. They conquer. The atmosphere is thick with realization. The concept of Earth being a death world is no longer a dismissed theory. It is truth, and that truth leaves an uncomfortable taste in the mouths of those who once thought themselves untouchable. Humanity, it seems, is no longer the underdog in the galaxy. It's a force to be reckoned with. Jaltar, usually the loudest and most confident of the group, now stands motionless, his once uncertain gaze fixed ahead. His mind races, reeling from the new understanding that has completely shattered his previous worldview. He had been so sure that Earth was a primitive world, a place to be dismissed as backward and weak. But now, confronted with the truth of humanity's survival, his arrogance crumbles. He turns slowly to Elias, who stands calmly beside him, and for the first time he speaks with humility. I didn't see it. I didn't understand. I thought Earth was a place of weakness. His voice falters slightly. But now I know it's humanity's strength. Elias nods, his expression unreadable but knowing. You weren't wrong, Jaltar, but you weren't right either. Earth is a place of extremes. Yes, but it's those extremes that created the humans you see today. And they're not done yet. Jaltar's mind lingers on these words. His entire perception of humanity shifted. His transformation from an arrogant scholar to one who now sees the true nature of survival and adaptation is complete. The lessons he learned on Earth will shape him forever. Corina stands at the back of the room, quietly reflecting on how far she's come. The timid, unsure student who had once struggled to even speak her mind now stands with a quiet strength. She had seen the depths of fear on Earth, had faced her own doubts and insecurities, but through those trials she had learned to stand tall, to believe in her own ability to survive. As the presentation concludes, she steps forward, her eyes clear and her voice firm. When we arrived on Earth, I was afraid, she says, her gaze sweeping across the audience. I didn't think I had the strength to survive, to learn, to adapt, but I did. I saw what humanity is capable of, and I realized even the weakest among us can survive if we are willing to fight for it. Her words are simple but profound, resonating deeply with the audience. Corina's transformation from a timid student to a confident, capable individual is not just a personal victory. It's a testament to the power of adaptation, of embracing fear and overcoming it. For Corina, the journey to Earth was not just about survival. It was about discovering the strength she never knew she had. In the sterile, high-tech chamber of Galactic University, Professor Zilvor stands before a massive holographic display. His long clawed fingers glide over the interface, updating the galactic database with Earth's new classification, Category 5 Death World. The cold hum of the machinery fills the silence as his voice reverberates in the room, soft yet heavy with weight. The true danger of Earth, he begins, his voice tinged with a quiet reverence, is not simply in its hostile environment. It is in the beings who call it home. Humanity. He pauses, the words lingering in the air like a confession. Zilvor had studied the data. He had seen the storms, the predators, the vast challenges that Earth's inhabitants face. But it wasn't until now, after hearing the survivors' accounts, that he truly understood the depth of human resilience. They didn't just survive. They thrived, molded their fate through ingenuity, and faced extinction time and again, with an unwavering will to live. He turns from the display, his gaze fixed on the gathered scholars, and adds, humanity has mastered survival. Where other species would falter, humans adapt. They carve their place in a world that should have swallowed them whole. The room falls into a reflective silence. The significance of his words hangs in the air like the weight of the universe itself. This is more than an academic update. This is an acknowledgement of humanity's indomitable will to survive. As the final report is filed and the holographic display dims, Elias Ward, the human guide, steps forward. His expression is calm, a smirk tugging at the corners of his lip. He is the quiet observer, the one who has seen Earth through its most dangerous moments. The professor turns to him, expecting gratitude or agreement. But instead, Elias offers a cryptic smile. You've only scratched the surface, Elias remarks, his voice smooth and casual. The room, still buzzing with a newfound respect for humanity's survival, falls silent again. But this time the silence is filled with curiosity. Elias hang in the air, filled with an eerie sense of mystery. The aliens glance at each other, puzzled. What do you mean? A young scholar asks, her antennae twitching in confusion. Elias simply shrugs, his eyes glinting with the hint of something deeper, something they haven't yet grasped. You've seen humanity's struggle to survive, but what you don't understand is why. Earth isn't just a place to endure. It's a place that shapes them, it changes them. His cryptic words leave a lasting impact. The room, filled with brilliant minds, is left to wonder if survival was just the beginning. What else lies beneath the surface of humanity's story? Elias knows far more than he's willing to share, and that only deepens the enigma surrounding the Earth's role in the galaxy. The presentation is over. The galactic community has absorbed the revelation that Earth is now classified as a Category 5 death world, and the implications are still settling in. The hum of the academic chambers is softer now. As students and professors alike reflect on what they've learned, they now understand that Earth is a planet where danger lurks at every corner. But it's also a place where the strongest trait of all is survival. In a quiet corner of the room, Elias stands with his back to the holographic displays, looking out over the gathered crowd. Rishak, the scholar who once doubted the humanity of Earth, stands beside him, lost in thought. It's strange, Rishak says, his voice barely above a whisper. We came here to teach the galaxy about Earth, but in the end I feel like we've learned far more than we've taught. Elias turns to him, his expression unreadable. That's how it always works. Earth teaches you things you never expect to learn. Rishak nods, understanding now. The journey had been about more than just survival. It had been about transformation, of understanding the untapped potential of a species that had conquered its world through sheer willpower and adaptability. The atmosphere is heavy with a quiet pride. Humanity's place in the galaxy has been solidified, not as a primitive, fragile species, but as a force to be reckoned with. However, Elias's words echo in the minds of everyone present, lingering like a storm on the horizon. You've only scratched the surface. What else is there to know about humanity? What else will be revealed when the galaxy truly begins to understand the depth of human ingenuity? As the crowd disperses, there is an unspoken understanding in the air. Earth's survival story is far from over. The galaxy has only just begun to witness the full scope of humanity's journey. The storm that Elias hints at is still brewing, and the universe has yet to see what humanity is truly capable of.